All right, I'm here this morning with Randall Cottrell. Um, a privilege to be here with him, and I'm catching him at a time where he's driving his kids to school. It's like real life here, for entrepreneurs. So, Randall, first of all, man, just tell me a little about you and your business, and kind of how you got started.
All right. Well, I mean, wow. I remember at age 19 wanting to have a business. I just remember that desire. I don't remember what made me do it. I just remember I wanted to do it. Um, so I opened a business. I had like a car upgrade shop. Remember the movie Fast and Furious? Remember that movie?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So that movie had come out, and I kind of liked that space, and I was like, man, this is what I want to do. So I opened a car shop, and I started doing upgrades to cars, lights and wheels and everything. Time went on, that progressed into doing like home theater, because I was doing audio and stuff for cars, and I got into home theater, and then that progressed into like commercial audio, video, stuff like that, and just kind of kept going, And somebody asked me though at some point, did you have any influence in your life from an entrepreneur? And I said, yeah, my parents were business owners. They had a wedding. They were florists, and they became wedding planners. And if you fast forward a little bit in my life, the first federal contract I ever got was event planning. And so it's kind of ironic,
Yeah.
that seeing that growing up. But yeah, I've done a lot of different stuff in business, a lot of spaces. But I think it's just something I've always wanted to do. I can't really explain it outside of that. I think I've always liked it. I always wanted to do it. And so, we can go deeper in questioning, but really, yeah, that's kind of how it started.
Okay. So tell us about what specifically you're doing right now.
So the company up to from like '07 to like 2021, we were an IT company. We had started transitioning from IT in like 2019 into the federal space doing defense work, and fully made the transition in the last few years. And now all we do is aerospace related defense work, and a lot of it is integrating technology into aviation platforms.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it now involves missiles and just in aircraft support, flight support. So we're an aviation company, and the reason why is because somebody asked me, he goes, Randall, what do you love? I said, I love aviation. And I wasn't doing it for a living though. He said, what have you done? I said, I've done IT. He goes, I think you got to do what you love. And that's kind of where it went. Having an IT background makes it easier to understand aviation now, because aviation is all technology driven. All it's connected to networks. You know what I mean? A lot of software, a lot of hardware. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, two things. One, you mentioned about your first contract, being in event planning. But what gave you the mindset to even bid on a contract? Like, what gave you that mindset of working with the government? Like, is that something you had knowledge about? How did you get into that space to even know?
And I'm a cliff diver.
Yeah.
I just jump. That's all. I don't. I'm just being honest with you. I'm a cliff diver, man. I'm all in, and I just jump and I see what happens. That's it. I just jump. I don't know anything else. I don't believe anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just go.
Okay. Well, let me.
When I saw it,
broke up a little bit. I didn't hear that last part.
I said I saw it, I liked it, so I went for it.
Okay, okay. So let me, in that space that you're in with aviation and doing the work that you're doing, do you find that in that space is it many minorities that's doing what you're doing, or is that space primarily dominated by the majority there?
Yeah, highly dominated by the majority.
Okay.
But give me 1 second. Let me reconnect my audio. Hold on.
Okay.
Sound better. I have a little feedback on my side. So which one? Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so it's very, very much yeah, there's not many of me.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Okay.
But yeah, we won't get into reasons, but unless you want to get into reasons.
Okay. Well, it seems like you always had that entrepreneur spirit, like say you start doing it at 19. What's some of the challenges you think that you face, in the different endeavors that you've done? Like what's some of the major challenges that you would say doing business, going to business for yourself?
Major challenges. Biggest one, money. Biggest one is money. That was a big one. And that's for the physical, but for the non-physical, self-esteem, huge. Didn't see that one coming, but self-esteem was a pretty massive one. Lack of information, huge. Lack of access to mentorship that understood the space, massive. I mean, those are my top. Those are my top four. I mean, there's more, but those are pretty big.
Okay. And so did you get involved in what you're doing like now? Was it pre-COVID or post-COVID? And if it was pre-COVID, what did you face any particular challenges around the pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, you get into government contracting, and the work you're doing is not something that has to keep going for the government. Yeah, my work wasn't something that the government kept going, regardless of the pandemic. My work was something that it involved a lot of face to face, and all that shut down. So that was the benefits of being in this space is that I did have access to information that I could use to make money, and I did. And it's just a good space to be in. Good space to be in. You have a lot of information, a lot of resources, a lot of people you can talk to, and so we didn't go broke. We actually did really well during the pandemic, but the government part did shut down.
You mentioned like mentors. Who have been some of your mentors, over the years? Who have been some people that's been inspiring to you, or people that you looked up to? I know you mentioned your parents, but other than them.
My uncle was definitely a guy that would just jump off the cliff. He would just do whatever he felt like he wanted to do. But I gotta be honest with you, man. I don't remember having a mentor that I don't remember having a true mentor. I've had some guides here and there, but I've never really had a mentor. Looked for one, wanted one pretty badly, pretty desperately, but never had it. And could be that I just wasn't focused enough. to really have for one to really invest in me, because I was just doing all kind of stuff and trying to make money. And I think now that I've been focused for a while, maybe it'll show up. Maybe that person will show up. But right now, God is my mentor.
Yeah. Okay.
That's pretty much it.
So what do you see, since you're in the space that you feel like now this is a great space for you? You kind of connected something that's able to make you revenue, and also something that you really are passionate about, aviation. Like what do you see the future for your business? Like what do you want in the future? What's your vision for the business now?
Our goal right now is to become several things. One is we want to make sure that America and its allies are safe, and we believe in that. Patriotism is a big deal to us. Want to make sure that we're a company who's involved in the highest level discussions about how to create solutions using aviation. Blending IT and aviation. We want to be the company that's at the table at the White House, that's at the table in Congress and the Senate when they say, "Hey, we gotta do this, this, and this." How do we do it? Involving aviation, involving IT. How do we global tables? We want to be the aviation solutions company that nobody saw coming, but that everybody has to reckon with now. That's our goal.
What barriers do you see, like as far as accomplishing that goal, man? Which is awesome. I love that you're a big thinker like that and a big visionary. What obstacles do you see that you have to overcome to get to reach that? Like,
man, I got to be honest with you. There are people on my team that look at obstacles. I don't look at obstacles. I had that, to keep going over the years, So yeah. I don't see obstacles at all. My team, my advisors, yeah, they see obstacles. They're the ones who are like, "Hey, this is in the way. That's in the way." If you tell me to think of a way to get around it, get over it, go through it, tear it apart, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do not see obstacles at all.
Okay. So, who has been, like, I know you said you have any mentors, but I'm a business coach, and so I always ask this question, and it can apply to business or sports or whatever. Who has been the best coach in your life?
Brent Bauer. Was with him for about 18 months, and Brent was just awesome. He's I needed somebody I could call in the final hours, the dark times. I needed somebody I could celebrate with, somebody I could ask questions with, to. Brent Bauer, absolutely fantastic coach. I mean, huge difference in my life from working with him. I also I deal with Rob Jenin a lot of YBL, and Rob's a guy I can call and always pray with, and always get a biblical perspective on what we're doing. Always get some pretty I'd say pretty call it blunt advice, but he's very straightforward, and he always has somebody to point me to. If I say, "Hey, Rob, I'm looking for a mentor. I'm looking for help. I need to know somebody." He's been that way for me. Like my parents, like I said, they're still some of my biggest advisors, and as far as in business and in personal life. But yeah, those are some of the top ones. And there are some that I watch. They don't know I'm watching, but I watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are some that I secretly just like, okay, I see what they did here. All right, I'm gonna do that. One of those guys is Daryl Freeman out of Nashville, Tennessee. I've been trying to link up with him for years. I kind of watch him like, hey man, this dude's doing something I want to do. You
Yeah.
know, I want to be able to do. There's a few more like that, but yeah, just some I interface with and some I just watch.
Okay. So Randall, I'm gonna ask you a question. I want two quotes from you, man. One might be a quote from just a quote that you say all the time, and from somebody else that you feel is, it's inspirational or just something you go by. And the other one is something that you end up saying a lot, man. Like somebody would say, "This is a Randall saying here." This is a quote that that Randall always says. You might not think about it as a quote, but the people you work with every day, if they were like, impersonating you, this is something they hear you say all the time. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. One of my favorite quotes is it's kind of a question type slash quote. How do you define an entrepreneur? And the answer is somebody who has a unique distaste for being manipulated or controlled. That's one of my all-time favorites. And probably a Randall quote. A Randall quote. I actually have quite a few I've written down, but I got to think of a situational quote. Let's see. Is this about business or life or what?
It could be either one, whatever one come to mind.
You know what? It's one I've been saying lately. Forget everything else. Get the contract. Get the contract. And you're not. We don't talk about anything else. You can't talk about business processes without making money. Can't talk about operations without making money. Just shut up and get the contract. That's
Yeah.
That's it. That's what that's kind of my new thing right now. We're wasting time. Go get the contract.
Yeah. So, as last question, Randall. So, if you were giving advice to another person that was in your shoes before you kind of found this path, that was kind of like you said, dealing with some of those obstacles, money, self-esteem, kind of in that place of not knowing what direction to go in. What advice would you give that person?
All right, several things. Number one, take 2 years. Save as much as you can, build as much credit as you can for your personal and your business. I'm not about getting contract at this point. Take 2 years and get everything straight. Pay off all the debt that you can, everything. 2 years of that before you try to just be in business. And it's funny because, I would never say that before. Like I would be like, hey, just jump in. Nope. Take 2 years and get everything ready that you can find to get ready. And the second thing is the only way to know how to get ready is you have to sit down, shut up, and listen to somebody who's already done it. I'm not saying read a bunch of books and exclusively, or just talk to people exclusively, but study everything you can, and find somebody. This is the third thing. Find somebody that you can glean from. Find somebody who's already kind of been up the road, and I don't care if you got to harass them to get time with them. Find somebody that you can glean from. Fourth thing, if I could tell myself something before, it would be to prioritize family and faith and your relationships well over the business itself. Business is so fleeting, and family, the support that and the accolades you look for in the business world, family's right there. They're there the whole time. You don't have to. You're searching for the business world. Just go to family, go to your relationships. And I think the last thing, especially if you're a minority in any form or fashion. Now, and being an African American minority, that's a whole other conversation. But if you're in a minority of any form or fashion, What you have to understand is you are fighting back. You're trying to fight your way up from years of mental and emotional damage, from years of lack of resources, years of lack of information. And this is regardless of the type of minority that you are, you're having to come back from just, you know, extreme hardship that you don't even realize is there. You know, you don't even know how bad it is. I would say make sure you understand that your playing field is not level. It's not ready to play. It's not set up. You know, you got to understand that the damage you had in your life is going to play out in business. And so, and this leads me to my ultimate thing: self-development. If I could go back, I would say self-development. Find everything wrong with yourself. This is probably a quote I should have gave you. Whatever you have wrong with you, whether you believe it's wrong or not, attack it. Only way to attack things that are wrong is with things that are right. Just attack all your flaws. People say you don't listen well, attack it. Go study how to listen. People say that you're not humble enough, attack it. You know what I mean? People say you're not confident enough, attack it. Treat it like it's your worst enemy. That's something I've done even recently, man. I realized I had an anger problem. My wife's been saying it for years. And I had to attack it. And I'm still attacking it. And it's something that changed everything for me. I mean, I've had situations since I started attacking it where I could have lashed out and gotten super angry. Man, I've been able to just like, hey, you know, there's another way to do it. The book I'm reading is like, when you have that issue, you got to say, instead of getting super angry, realize the root of it. Right? What's making you feel angry? And man, I've had to do a whole thing where, okay, what's making me feel angry is this. Let me address that, and in a nice way. Hello, person. This is making me feel this kind of way, and because of that, I feel anger, and I'd like to find a better way to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Man, it was beautiful. Anyhow, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, that's some good stuff, man. Good stuff.